And it appears that apple pie is greater than the baguette, at least in today's head-to-head matchup. And of course, props to Monte for predicting correctly. Let's talk a little bit about the game. I think Jat summarized a lot of the macro strategy very well. We're going to go back, look at a few replays. Before we do, straight up head-to-head lanes. It's the first time we've seen that all day. It's not something that happens very often. Peke is somebody I want to highlight. He had 94 CS average over the 2 games at 10 minutes. So he is CSing like a monster, but it's not necessarily helping Fnatic transition into a powerful mid-game state.
Yeah, there's one thing I think that's going well for Fnatic despite these losses, which is Peke's play as far as laning goes. This game at 10 minutes, 98 to 87 minions. 20 minutes, 194 to 177. So Peke is continually outplaying his opposition one-on-one. Problem is Fnatic's making a lot of mistakes outside of that, obviously.
Not working in their favor, unfortunately.
Yeah, I really felt Fnatic did well early, but then they just threw it away, like their lead at 2 questionable decisions, one contesting a blue buff, and then later, all the way at the end, if we saw that exchange, yeah, Joe talked a bit about how that shockwave wasn't amounting to much. It was just a disengaged shockwave, and I felt that was okay, because they kept Cloud9 busy long enough so they could fall back and let SOAS take 2 towers for free, but then Fnatic got overconfident. They're like, hey, let's drag him back to us again, and then just lost out completely.
Well, dial it back just a little bit. Before all of the drama happened, Fnatic did actually have control. We do have a replay to at least talk through one of those team fights. So Fisho, highlight what was positive and negative about this.
Well, so first of all, Fnatic's side here actually decide to go for the fight even though Yellowstar is dead. He's not in this fight. He's all the way back in the base. And the issue for Fnatic, and the issue Krepo brought up himself, is Fnatic were greedy in this game. There were many times where they actually disengaged well, did a good thing, and then in the end, they go back in. We saw it in the last fight. This one as well here. You see Cyanide and SOAS, if we just start rolling the clip, they're greedy to get in towards Cloud9 here. They want to get straight into them. The rest of them, the rest of Fnatic
this is the result.
Is too far. Yeah, this is the result here. We roll again though. The rest of Fnatic are too far away to join in. There's no shockwave from EpicSkillshot here to help out with SOAS and Cyanide. So they take so much damage. Yes, they kill the support, but it's too late. It's a beautiful, beautiful shockwave though coming in, but it's just too late. There's nobody there to do the damage after the shockwave, and the only thing Fnatic can do is try and chase, but they don't get anything. And in the end, they actually give up 2 kills because they went in split and too fast.
Not to mention that if Meteos had enough, we were looking at this before, he was within repel range right there, and had he had enough mana for an E, they could have actually turned around and gotten maybe even a kill or more.
100% agree, and it was the issue for Fnatic. They made some good moves. We saw some very beautiful shockwaves from Orianna. Yet though, whenever they actually did something very good, Cloud9 could just turn it around, especially because Fnatic were too greedy or made a big mistake, and the last one was definitely one of them.
Yeah, Fnatic was a team where they had very smart overall decision-making. They were up 3-1 on Dragons, 7-5 on both blue buffs and red buffs. They were, until the endgame pushes, 6-3 on turrets. All the, be smart, think about the game objectives, they outplayed Cloud9 down the line. They took everything down the line. The problem was, when it came down to, there's a battle in front of us, they're like, let's fight a 4v5, and did that like 3 times and lost the game because of it.
Although I do think Cloud9's vision control was a little better. I saw Fnatic really misuse their sweeps. At one point, Yellowstar had an Orcus lens, and he could literally just sweep all the areas in one go and then save the other sweeps on the remaining members. But they ended up double sweeping brushes constantly. They even missed a ward at the side of Baron that just gave Cloud9 the security like, hey, they're literally not at Baron. They're trying to bait us in. Let's just push mid. And then Cloud9 is really good at recognizing these openings, and this is a glimpse of the former Cloud9 in its full glory coming through, saying, yeah, you guys can try and play the map, but we'll play better than you, and that's what ended up happening.
Well, not only that, but we can talk about the kind of early game objectives that Fnatic got, but as Jat was talking about as well, they were really playing for that late game. You have the Twitch, you have the Trundle that can just go ahead and ult the Shyvana and steal all the stats. So if you're Cloud9, in a way, not fighting these objectives early and staying, really, they stayed very close within a couple thousand gold that entire game. And by the end, all you have to do is wait for your opponent to make a mistake, and then you can capitalize it and close the game like that.
You have set me up beautifully because Fnatic made multiple of those mistakes. We have another replay. Let's pull a second one up onto your screen. It was probably the first real overcommitment that Fnatic made, and it was something that we've seen them repeat a couple of times. Krepo, talk us through, what's happening here.
Yeah, this is, again, at blue buff. This is where Fnatic tries to force. They have a little bit of a lead, so they try to exploit that lead by going for blue buff, but they're reaching too far. They're getting poked over the wall, and look how chunked everybody is right now. They have to get out of there real quick, but they're still greeting. They want that blue buff, and then they want to move out. But I believe at this point, we see a teleport coming down. We see Elise flanking. Actually, the teleport's coming a little later, I believe. But yeah, Cloud9 is closing them in, and Fnatic's too chunked, so they can't really escape up, left, and down. Everything is closed in, so they're just going to try and kill somebody. Here's Balls TPing in. Okay, Soa's reacting to the TP of his own, but look at Pekka is super low. He managed to get 1 kill here on Link, I believe, but it's all for naught because this is so close to the base of Cloud9, Twitch will just come in and clean up. And this is where I really think Fnatic threw away their lead, and they should recognize that if you're this close to an enemy base, just ignore the blue buff. It's not worth it. Get out.
Maybe they were just scared to go late game and just felt like we need to do something again and again and again. And the fight they had, where there were 4 members, they disengaged Source, takes 2 towers down the bottom lane, and yet they still feel the need to actually go back in and start a fight. I'm not sure if they were afraid of going to late game or they were just too aggressive.
Well, Freak, just last comments before we move on.
Yeah, so to me it's like, I know you can be afraid of the late game, but you can play these like small advantage windows over and over again and just build too big of a lead. Like, yes, Twitch is good, but if you stay 1 item up on an 80 carry, Graves will always outdamage Twitch. That will always happen if you're an item up, and as long as you play the safe moves, you can keep that item lead.
But for that, you need better vision control.
Sure.
Well, we'll have to see if Fnatic can bounce back. I fear their fate may not be entirely in their own hands. We do have to take a very quick commercial break, and when we are back, there'll be more All-Star action as OMG take on the Taipei Assassins. Do not go away.